you're going to be put in an arena of competition. You're either going to fight and win, or you're going to roll over and lose. That's life every day, okay? What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
We are back in the tank with Coach Greg Woodard, former Coach Greg Woodard of the John Glenn Muskies. Coach, you've been a lot of moments, a lot of hours, a lot of minutes in this gym. What's it like for you to come full circle now to having said it's time to walk away?
Well, really just, I guess a little over 24 hours of doing that. Still a lot of emotions. It's been kind of a rough couple days, but just the amount of former players and friends and parents who have contacted me in the last 24 hours has been unbelievable.
People the coach probably understand, but a lot of people don't. Coach, like, why would he step away? Like, he's still fairly young, he's having a lot of success. Just explain that process for you. Is when's the right time, and why was it the right time for you?
You know, for me, I'm 46 years old. I've been a head coach for 23 years, so basically half my life I've spent in the gym, and I don't want to come off, you know, like a lot of people do, is I'm quitting to go finish a degree, I'm quitting to spend more time with my family. You know, really the number one reason is I'm tired. I've had my fill. You know, I'm tired of not sleeping at night, stressed on how do we make this team better, how do we get better, how do we fix this, all the hours. You know, and as you said, only coaches know the amount of time, the passion. You basically, your whole heart is wrapped up in this thing, and I've had enough. I'm tired, and with that being said, I do need to go spend more time with my family. I've got 2 younger kids, and it's time that they come first.
You know, you've been thinking about this probably for a few years now. How hard was it to actually not back out on your decision and to go through with it, knowing that you were ending a couple decades worth of work?
It's funny because about 7 years ago, when Jay Kagan was a senior, I had thoughts in my mind about quitting after that year, and you know, when it would get close to that time to pull the trigger, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, and you know, it's been funny because each year there's another group of kids coming that you're thinking, boy, I think that group can be pretty good. And the competitive side of me has kind of kept me in that, and you know, thankfully so. You know, I would have missed a lot of good memories, but you know, just looking back over the past 9 years, the talent that we've had has been phenomenal, and I guess I appreciate the ride that these kids have given me.
For people that don't, again, quite understand, it's hard to understand as a fan, how tough is it to be a coach? The sacrifices you make, the exhaustion you feel at times because you've put everything into it, and sometimes things you can't even control.
To do it this long and to coach at this level, you've got to have a family that's very supportive, and I am extremely fortunate that my family's been very supportive. In my 23 years, my mom's only missed about 5 games, I think, and that's number one. Number two is I've been fortunate to surround myself with tremendous coaches, tremendous assistant coaches, and fortunately for us, we've had a lot of really, really good players here. But it's exhausting. It's exhausting. You know, you put your heart and soul into something for this many years, it wears you out. It really does.
Let's go back to 1995. You're hired at Crooksville. Not a basketball school, but hey, they're going to give you a shot.
Right.
Where did you think this career would take you from the time you took that job to where you're sitting here now finished?
At 23 years age, when I got the Crooksville job, all I knew is I wanted to be a high school basketball coach at that point. And I knew their history or tradition was not great, but I knew they were tough kids. And the 4 years at Crooksville, I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. We had some success, which then allowed kind of the timing for this opening back up and coming home, really.
I'm telling you what, you outwork people, you're going to give yourself a chance. A lot of kids never have this opportunity. Hey, leave it on the floor, show them the John Glenn way. If we're going to be about something, let's be about being toughness and having great character.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be fun. Let's make sure we do it together. No one needs to do it on their own. Let's do it together. Let's make sure we do the intangibles.
Outside of great players and great assistant coaches, you had something to do with this as far as your approach to the game, your philosophy, your ability to adjust as a coach. How did you grow as a coach?
From day one, my only goal was to make sure that we competed. You know, we competed hard. We wanted our kids to be tough. We wanted to be able to handle adversity, and that's kind of been the staple of what we've tried to do for all these years.
Have pride in that uniform you got on. Have pride where you're from. Have pride in the history and the tradition of this program. And make damn sure when we walk off that floor, we were tougher than they were.
Yeah, you were able to taste success in the early 2000s. Jump ahead to 2011. Jake Hagan, another blessing of a player. He really blossomed as a senior. He finally took the next step. What was that breakthrough like for you guys to finally win that elusive district title against a great team that night in Carrollton?
You know, Jake, the best athlete that I've ever coached. Just a phenomenal athlete, but a tough kid too. His mom, bless her heart, Shelly and Jim, they weren't easy on the Hagan kids, and Jake had a lot of toughness and extremely competitive. But what a great group he had around him too, and we only played about 5 or 6 kids that year, but everybody knew their role. And it's interesting that we talk about the Carrollton game itself, because through Jake's career he had a handful of opportunities to knock down shots at the end of games and never did. And for us that night, Jake stepped up and hit the biggest shot probably in John Glenn history at that point. Finally knocked that big time shot down. Got us that first district title in a number of years, and really from there, that team, it's kind of snowballed since then.
That shot did a lot. Like you said, that was a huge shot, maybe the biggest shot in school history.
Yep.
For what it did. You win and then you beat a great Chillicothe team.
Yep.
And then you...
Maybe the best dunk I've ever seen in high school basketball as well.
That started a kind of a stretch for you where we're close.
This close. This close.
3 trips in a row, you get to the regional final, and you can taste the shot, but you can't get over the hump. How much did that start bugging you that you might not be able to get there?
I remember telling my wife that on my tombstone they would put Mr. Regional Final, because that was all the farther we could get. But, you know, again, fortunately for us, we had great groups that had a mixture of seniors and underclass, so those underclass kids would get a taste of that. At some point, that experience was going to pay off, and we weren't having a whole lot of success from the team out of Columbus those years. And, you know, fortunately, a couple years ago, we were able to get over that hump.
Don't let this moment get by you without going out there with all the energy and excitement we can create in this gym.
Summer of 2015, did you honestly think this was the team that might be able to do it?
The year before, when Matt and Drew and Tanner and Austin were juniors, we thought we could do it. Going into that year was probably the biggest disappointment of losing the regional final. But with that being said, with that core group back at a school this size, as a coach, you know, you felt like this was your one chance to get there. I couldn't tell you how many games we played that summer, probably 70-some games, and we never lost. It was almost too good to be true. The skill level of that group was unbelievable. You know, you could put 5 kids on the floor at any time that could shoot the 3, that could put it on the deck, and defensively could guard the ball. I knew we were really good going into the year. When we beat St. V up at St. V, I think everybody started to believe.
We're not here to participate. We're not here for the hype. We came here to win a basketball game.
The regional final, were you nervous that time, knowing that was the roadblock?
Those kids had been through so much together. I knew that the sales wasn't going to stand in their way.
You either watch it happen, or you go out there and make it happen.
that point, you're the final 4 teams left. How much did you believe that without a doubt your team was the best team in Division II?
We knew in watching and scouting Bay that they were one to play fast like we did, and I don't think they had any idea what fast was until they played us. But you know, and ultimately we figured we would run into St. V again. So, I'm glad we did.
Part of me is just so excited for you guys to play for a state championship. The other part of me don't want this thing to ever end. I want to keep playing on and on and on. But the bottom line is we're at the end of our ride. And as we've always said, when we face these type of challenges, we're not here to participate.
Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose, and sure as hell ain't going to be us.
What was it like for you when you grabbed that rebound and that was it, and you knew, what was that jubilation? Can you even reflect back and then relive that experience?
You know what, the feelings that I remember are just the pride and happiness I had for those kids in our community. This was my dream, to be here and to coach that. I dreamed what it would look like to see maroon and white in the end of the shot, and I was just so happy for our community. You know, our community had been through a lot that year, and losing some close people to the program.
Let's make sure we honor him by how hard and the emotion we play with tonight.
And the head coach of the John Glenn Muskies, Mr. Coach Woodard.
New Concord, we are state champs!
What was your toughest moment as a coach that really just pushed you and either challenged you or made you second guess things?
The toughest moment is easy, and it's really not even basketball related. It was the death of Clay Sturts. You know, Clay was just graduated in May, got killed in right before practice started in November, and just the pain that a lot of young men had in our locker room. As a coach, you were just trying to help them ease that pain and get them through that period of grieving. But that's something I don't wish upon anybody. That was tough, losing a young man that had poured his heart and soul into our program.
Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose, and it sure as hell ain't got to be us. Let's go!
Kind of puts things into perspective for you as a coach. As important as we make basketball and as important as we make winning, at the end of the day, it's more important that they're good young men.
Make something happen. That's life. Nobody's going to hand it to you. You got to go get it. It's about winning as a team. It shouldn't matter who scores, who gets assists, who gets rebounds. It's about playing hard and caring about each other.
How satisfied are you with your career? I mean, how good do you feel about what you gave into it, the effort you gave, and ultimately some of the results you got out of it?
My only goal was to come in here and get kids to understand what it's going to take to be successful in life, and that's to work hard, that's to handle adversity, that's to, when you get knocked down, pick yourself back up.
There'll be some adversity. Get through it. Get through it because we got some grit and some toughness. Let's be noticed tonight for how hard we play. Not how many points we put on the board, how hard we play. They're tired, we're tougher.
Yes, sir.
From the basketball perspective of it, you're competitive as a coach, and people always ask me, why didn't you hang it up after the state championship? And, my answer is simple. I wanted to prove to people that we could still win, even without those Division I players. You know, you just always feel like you got something to prove, always kind of got a little chip on your shoulder, and I think that's kind of what's driven me all those years. Like I said, just so fortunate to have the kids that we've had.
You're carrying the torch right now. Some of your dads wore that jersey. Brothers wore that jersey. I wore that jersey. You're carrying the torch now. You continue the tradition.
A lot of people respect your coaching and respect what you've built. I think there's a lot of young coaches that would love to have the success you've had. What do you tell those young coaches that are going through hard times, or those coaches that want to win? What advice do you give them to give yourself a chance to have success?
The number one thing is kids are going to do what's expected of them. If your expectations are in the middle of the road, that's what they're going to get you to. The expectations are high, then I think your kids are going to get to where you expect them to get. But I think it's important that your kids, your players, your team see that it matters to you. Our kids know I'm an emotional guy. I can get loud.
You got 16 minutes. What the hell do you got to lose to go out there and fight like it matters? It matters. This matters. I would like somebody to get up and get a little fired up about playing and have a little pride about this name right here on this jersey. It needs to mean more to each and every one of you. You may not sleep at night until we get this thing rolling. That's the mindset you gotta have. Defensive intensity, pride in that uniform, and we cut down what's ours tonight. Don't let them be tougher than us. Don't let them be tougher than us. Let's go.
At what point will you stop missing this, you think? When that leaves your head and you're kind of content with your new life that doesn't involve being in here every day?
I think I'm going to enjoy it. To be honest with you, I got a 15-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter that have a lot of interest outside of sports, and right now that's become my number one. I'm going to go help them hopefully live their dreams. I've been helping with kids for 20-some years now. It's time I go raise my own kids.
All good things come to an end for Coach Greg Woodard. 23 years, and it's time to move on to the next phase of life.